There we go, it's a C-Class Mercedes-Benz. It's quite attractive actually, I like it. It's a 4-door saloon. The mirrors tuck themselves in there as when you lock it up. I think it's selectable. That's what it is, a 2-litre diesel I suppose. But that's deceptive because it goes like the wind. I think it's like an 8-speed automatic. But it really does shift. It's basically an automatic. It's got these flappy paddle things from the gearbox. When the thing's in drive, this is up and the other side is down, it goes down, and the little display on the thing goes from D whatever gear you're in, like D5, and then you select down and it will say M4, manual 4, and it will stay there for about 10 seconds, and an arrow will tell you it wants to change up, and then about another 5 seconds after that it changes up again, which is very annoying. No doubt there's a way of changing it so it does what you want, but you seem to be fighting it all the time. Inside you've got this control here which sets a menu. You rest your hand on the top and you go through the various menus, and you push the button when you want to select them, and then there's another, you know, back on there, which is quite nice. It's got no handbrake here, so they've got room for this stuff. I quite like this, the volume control for the radio. It's, you know, you bring your hand, you hit that, and then up down. That seems to work very well. Obviously if you had a manual handbrake here, there wouldn't be room for this, which brings me on to something I really don't like about this car. This button here is the electric handbrake. You select it on and off, and I don't like that. Electric handbrake's terrible. It seems to work, but it's a very complicated system. The dashboard, again, I don't particularly like it. I like the 2 dials, rev counter and speedo, but then you've got this panel in the middle, which is not really in the same style. This is where it tells you what gear you're in, and this changes to an M when it's in manual. It's D the gear, or M the gear, and then there's a green arrow here tells you what it wants to do, whether it wants to go up or down. But I don't think this style is very consistent. This kind of brushed aluminium I quite like. What have I dropped there? Have I dropped the key? Yeah, drop the key down the seat there. This brushed aluminium I like. You've got this kind of brushed aluminium look here, and on the dials here, and this kind of almost a wood grain effect on the thing. I quite like all of that, but it's not consistent because you've got this like brushed aluminium here and on the dials, but then they've gone to these smooth buttons here, so they've changed style. The clock again is in one kind of typeface, and then the legends here are in another, and then if you look at the clocks, they're in another typeface again, with kind of slanting characters, and so there's no consistency, and the characters are sort of bold here and slanting elsewhere, so there's not a lot of consistency in the way the dials work. Having said that, this is a very comfortable place to be. Oh, this is another thing I don't like, this pod thing with the radio and stuff on it. Probably won't turn on now because I've got the key out, but let's put the key and see if that does anything. On? Yeah, there we go. This looks a bit like a cheap tablet. It looks very out of place, just stuck there. It's not moulded into the thing. Having said that, I mean, this is the radio bit, which it does that. I mean, it works very well. The one thing I did notice though if you go into car settings, vehicle settings, if I push that, it's quite slow. Mirror folding, oh, there's all sorts of settings on here. All I'm doing is rotating this. But I did know, I've been looking through these various settings, and sometimes it doesn't seem to be too bad on this, but sometimes it can be very, very slow before it reacts. The off-on button is there. But having said that, seat's very comfortable. It drives very well. It's very quiet inside when you're driving it. It pulls very well. It's got a quality feel about it. I mean, I'm trying to find reasons why I don't like it, because I can't afford to buy it. But I must admit, it's a very nice car. The two main reasons I wouldn't buy it are the gearbox, the automatic gearbox. When you're driving it, it's never in the right gear, so you're always pushing these, you know, down, and then a few seconds later you put your foot a little bit on the throttle, it's dull as dishwater, so you think, oh, it's gone up a gear again, so you go down and then it takes off, which is great, but you know, you seem to be fighting it all the time. And it's the same with up. Not only does it always seem to be in a gear too high, but when you've changed down and you want it to go up, invariably you're saying come on then, and selecting up, and it doesn't always obey. Sometimes you say up and it just ignores you. Being in manual, and you select up and it ignores you, and then it goes D and then it changes up, and nothing's changed, so it drives me nuts. This C on the dashboard, I've no idea what that means. I'll just turn the handbrake off there. You get a little symbol here when you turn the handbrake off and on. It's got this self-start thing. Every time you come to a standstill, you've got your foot on the brake, comes to a standstill, the engine stops. I think that's a normal thing this day, and then as you come off the brake it starts again. Personally, again, I don't like it, but you know, it's an economy thing, I guess, and probably you can turn it off, but it drives me nuts. But again, from a looks point of view, very pretty car. I think the front is quite aggressive. It's quite good. It's a 4-door saloon, so as you can see from my little Honda Civic here, and do the Honda Civic, I'm used to driving something a little bit smaller. I mean, this is a 4-door, strangely enough. It doesn't look like a 4-door, but that's the door handle for the back door. But yeah, it's a slightly bigger car. It's got all the reversing features, these sensors and things they put in the back now that beep at you, and when you put it into reverse there's a reversing camera as well, that not only shows you rear view, but it sort of shows you where the car's going to go in with whatever steering lock you're going on, which is an unnecessary thrill as far as I'm concerned. It seems to beep a little bit too much, which I just find that, you know, regardless whether you're close to something or not close to something, it beeps. But personally, it's another one of those unnecessary things. But for people who can't park, I suppose. But yeah, but a nice car. I'm being a bit critical of it, but I do like it. I'd love to be able to afford it. But even if I could afford it, I probably wouldn't buy it unless it had a proper handbrake and it was a manual. But other than that, it's diesel, by the way. But driving it, you wouldn't think so, because it flies. 8-speed automatic gearbox, and really, that's all I have to say about it, really. Thank you, and bye bye.